What's going on, y'all? And welcome back to the BlkPrint. J5 in the building. Here with Mark. Josh on vacation. European vacation.
Cozy vacay.
Yeah, just going all over the fucking UK right now.
At first, the photos were like real business oriented. Now it's just like
He's just chilling.
no, cozy.
Yeah, he's just not doing nothing. He's just out living. You know what I'm saying? So
That's what vacation should be.
We're here for episode 57.
57.
Here, 57. Josh will be back next episode. Of course, we did not know he would not be back yet. So we're still doing B-sides today. So don't worry. It's just gonna be just a normal B-sides, but we're still gonna do a heavy hitter B-sides at the end of the month. So don't worry. You're gonna get two as a consolation for not having the full team here. But in the absence of Josh, shout out to Josh. He'll be back in like a couple hours. Actually, we got a special guest. You've heard him on BlkPrint Radio, of course. He's been a long-time supporter of the show, long-time friend of the show. You've heard him before on the show before. Kameron Hay, social media extraordinaire on the show, of course. What's up, Cam?
What's good, guys? I'm happy to be here, of course. I love coming on here because J5 always gives me a good introduction.
Yeah, I got to be nice to you. Like
it's the only time it happens.
Yeah, this is the real conversation.
I was about to say, why the laughter? I feel like that's appropriate. Social media extraordinaire.
I got problems with his social media presence. We're gonna talk about it.
Why?
We're gonna talk about it.
Okay.
We're gonna talk about it. You know, we're gonna talk about it on the show. But Cam, how you doing? Out there in the Midwest, you left us. You left us in LA all alone.
Oh man, I'm doing good out here in St. Louis. I do miss LA though. I miss it a lot. I'm trying to get back as soon as possible. Trust me. Like that's where I want to be at. So
you were supposed to be the chosen one.
I still am.
You were supposed to be what? You're supposed to be Lisan Al-Gaib.
I still am, bro. You know, I took a different route. I took the alternative route, but I'm gonna be back. I'm gonna be back for sure.
You seen Dune 2 yet?
I have. I saw it. I think the opening weekend. I saw it that Sunday. I saw it.
It's taken over my life in ways that are not normal or okay.
I'm trying to resist the urge to go see it again in theaters because, like, very rarely are there like movies or not even just movies,
experiences
that live up to the hype. And like I was seeing that week leading into the movie coming out, all of the reviews, and then people that I knew that saw the movie personally in theaters, they were saying it was like amazing, a one of a kind experience in theaters. So like I went in with the open mind, and this was one of those things where people were not lying. They were not like over exaggerating the experience of the movie in theaters. So
I don't know anybody who doesn't like this movie.
Same.
Like I don't know a single soul. But actually, Josh will probably hate it. So when he gets back, I'm gonna tell him go see Dune 2. We're gonna talk to him about it when he gets back on the show. But Cam, you've been living the high life. You survived many cuts at Complex.
It's crazy.
By grace of God, do you have like survivor's guilt? I'm talking as an unemployed motherfucker. We just kicking it. Do you have survivor's guilt?
Sometimes you do. I think it's human nature, especially if like you see people that you built like relationships with, have the unfortunate side of the business. So I do think there are moments, especially right after it happens, where you like, damn, like, and then you just look around and you're like, yo, the numbers are dwindling year after year. Like kind of like a looking over your shoulder type of situation, to be honest with you. Yeah. Because you don't know if it's going to be you next time it happens, if it happens again. Like you just, no matter how good you are at your job or the role that you feel is something that is indispensable, if they decide you're replaceable or they can move on without you, they will. So it's just crazy.
Yeah, I'm just glad that you still have a home base, so to speak. You're still doing your thing. I don't say that to be a little bit facetious, but I don't say that to be minimizing of everyone's experiences. There's a lot of talented people that have come through those complex offices, came out of it, and are way more successful. So, and I think those people that will continue on. But it's been crazy in the media landscape right now.
Yeah,
and it's real. It feels like every week it hasn't slowed down, which is the crazy part about it is that like it hasn't stopped. It's been literally weekly since January, and we talk about it on the show quite a bit. You know what I mean? There's just layoffs upon layoffs, downsizing, shit like that. And it's like, everyone keeps saying things are okay. It doesn't seem like everything. It doesn't seem like everything's okay right now.
Not okay. It's not okay at all.
Yeah, it is. It's fucking scary. But I mean, again, like I said, I'm glad that to see that you've still carved your lane. I was thinking about something the other day, a couple years ago. The three of us worked on like a huge podcast episode, and I go down memory lane because it was just such a combination of just the talent of the three of us, really. And really, Cam just being just a great kind of connector of community, something that I've always admired that you took from the people that you've been around. That Katie interview from a couple of years ago, I think we're going on like 4 years since that happened, right? Like 4 or 5.
Crazy. 2020, yeah. It was like September.
Yeah, like
2020.
If for people that don't know, I think we can still find it somewhere. Did we delete that? We didn't delete that.
If you were to look at RSP, I'm pretty sure I kept RSPN up for everybody. If you ever wanted to listen to the back catalog of episodes, it's still there.
Yeah, the Play for Keeps, Cam's podcast with my boy Drew, and just like the KD thing was just amazing. How did that come together? Again, like I just remember you saying, "Hey, he'll do it," and I'm just like, "All right, okay, let's." All right, I was like, "Mark, get information."
And then we saw the photo.
Yeah.
No, I remember, bro. Like so I'll start from the beginning. So KD, he got cool with the homie Eddie, also known as Bansky on Twitter. I'm pretty sure everybody's seen his.
He's been on the show.
Yeah,
he's been on the show.
Yeah, you've heard him on here. I don't want to say hot takes; those are his real beliefs. It's not him trying to like just say anything for attention. But like one day, like I think like Katie like DM'd him, and they were just like chopping it up about hoops because I think Vance had said something on the timeline that Katie didn't agree with, and Katie just like reached out. They started a conversation. Boom! From there, like. I met Kev through bands, and when the pandemic happened, so right before the pandemic, I think the world shut down in March 2020. Like literally the weekend before everything shut down, the Nets were in town to play the Lakers.
Yeah,
and that was the first time I actually got to meet Kev in person. Like for like the 6 or 7 months before that, it was really just like through Twitter. We was just communicating through Twitter and everything, like group chats and everything. And he came to LA, and we went to dinner after the game.
This when he gave you COVID, right?
He thought he gave me COVID. Yeah,
damn,
he had
spoiler.
He thought he had gave me COVID. He had COVID. He tested positive for it, and he FaceTimed. He FaceTimed me like literally like 2 days later, and he was like, "Yo," when the news broke that he had tested positive for it, he FaceTimed me before the news broke. He was like, "Yo, this is about to come out." Like, and you remember back then, nobody knew what COVID was, so like everybody thought if you got COVID, it was like a death sentence.
Oh yeah, the call he gave was like the call he gave you like the clap or something. Like that was what it was.
Like, yo, he was like, "Go get tested, bro." I'm like, "All right, man." Like, so I'm like,
that was the OG test too. Damn, thank God I didn't have to go through the OGs.
So I had to get tested for COVID and everything, but I didn't have it, fortunately. But once the world got shut down. He usually stays in Los Angeles during the off season. He stays in LA and everything. So I don't think he ever went back to New York once the season got put on hold. I think once he came out here, the Nets came for the Lakers game.
He never left.
And remember, for like background too, like he wasn't playing this season. This was while he was still recovering from the torn Achilles from NBA Finals. So he didn't go back to Brooklyn with the team, I believe. I think he stayed in LA. And he stayed in LA basically that rest of that entire year. So I remember me and Drew, we had been talking about with you guys about starting a basketball podcast, and we had started it. And we had started it, and I think when we did the first episode, or night before we did the first episode, I was telling Kev that we were going to start it, but I wasn't telling him because I wanted him to come on. I was just telling like, would you be interested in like listening to something like this? Because we talk basketball all the time, every day. Like, would you listen to a pod if me and Drew did it? Because Drew talked to him as well too, and he was like, yeah, he was like, I'll listen to anything basketball related, especially if it's like from people like I respect or like I'm cool with. So I was like, all right, man. He was like, if you do the pod, I want to come on. And somebody tell you that, like, he's like, all right. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, whatever, bro. Like, we'll see. Like, and of course, I'm not about to like hold it over you. Like, if you want to come on, we'll make it happen when the time is right. So me and Drew did the first episode. We put it out, And KD texted me. Like when we tweeted the link out from the Play for Keeps Twitter account, he texted me and he was like, yo, what happened to me coming on the show? I was like, yo, I didn't think you wanted to come on the first episode, but like, if you want to come on, I was like, definitely. He was like, pull up this weekend, we can do it.
Yeah.
This was like on a Wednesday. So I remember when this happened, I immediately text J5. Like I immediately text you. I was like, yo, KD wants to come on pod. I remember like maybe like 2 days later, me, you, and Josh met at your apartment. We sitting in the living room, in the dining room at your apartment.
Planning it out. We were planning it out. Like, we was legit planning it out. We were like, because at that point, I told, you told me, I told Josh, we had all chopped it up, and it was like, it was a moment where it was like, we were in my apartment telling you, it was like, Cam, the shit is going to change after this. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, this is a big deal. It's like the way you got to carry it and the way we got to promote it and we got to have clips. And then at that point, we brought Mark into it, and I was just like, Mark, this is like big. This is major shit.
I don't even remember what my response was. It was just like, okay, he's going to do it. I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. Again, it shook everything. And the thing that was crazy was that it was super secret. Nobody knew what was going on. Nobody knew the enormity of what it was. And it's just like, I took it as like, I didn't want to like, this was yours. Everything that you did for Play for Keeps, I was like, this is all yours. You know what I'm saying? This was your vision, your idea. I was just there to be like, okay, this is probably the way that we should, break it down. And from there, you recorded the pod from there, right?
Yeah, we went. So I think after we had got everything in order and aligned, we went over to his crib. I think it was a Sunday. We went over there on that Sunday. It was like Sunday, like late afternoon. We recorded it, and it was like probably like an hour 20 minutes. And like afterwards, I was like, yo, this is crazy. And the thing is, it was like in the moment doing it because we had
a relationship with him.
We had a relationship with him. We had good like topics to discuss. I felt like as we were like midway through it, I was like, yo, this is actually like, it's not just that we're talking to KD, but like, I think this is good. Yeah. Like, I think it's going to like really make some noise because he wasn't doing a lot of interviews at the time. Yeah. He wasn't really like super accessible. Like now he does interviews. I think at the time, around that time, I think the last interview he had done, if I'm not mistaken, was I think he was on All the Smoke. But not All the Smoke, Knuckleheads pod with Quentin Richardson and Darius Miles. And so this was kind of a big deal. And then I just remember after we did it, I sent it over to Mark for him to like edit it and everything, chop it up or whatever he felt the best way to do it was. And when it came out, I want to say that Tuesday or Monday, I can't remember if it came out that Monday, the very next day, or if it came out Tuesday. I can't remember. But like, I just remember it being everywhere. Yeah. I remember
we had like 5,000, 8,000 downloads.
And that editing was pristine. I had to make sure from the second, every single level of audio. This is before I was like, this is before we had like plugins. This is where I was able to find Audacity plugins and just like be able to put it in a compressor and then just level it and blah, blah. I was like making sure, I was like, every single thing on this episode has to feel pristine. So the world's going to listen to this shit. I don't want a single mic echo. I don't want anything that could have just been like normal and we usually just have as happenstance on our usual recordings. I had to make sure that everything felt amazing with this episode. I think it came out well.
I mean, listen, banner like project and accomplishment for Cam, banner accomplishment for Mark, banner accomplishment for Drew. Like just like it went crazy. It went up. I mean, it came out. KD retweets it. The next day, you're on Sports Center. And your voice is on Sports Center. Have you ever saved any of those clips? Have you saved any of them and just kept them?
I think I have them. I think I have a lot of them bookmarked on my Twitter. Like I think I have a lot of them bookmarked, and like I haven't gone back to listen to them or look at them in a long time.
Why not?
I don't know. I really don't know. But like I just remember that day because I was still working at Fox Sports at the time, and I remember that day when that interview dropped, and like we were at my job, they were aggregating my podcast for quotes. And then I remember that night the Nets were in the bubble. They went down there, but like, KD didn't go because he was rehabbing and Kyrie didn't go. But while they were playing somebody, I can't remember who it was they were playing. And I just remember like Doris Burke and Mike Breen like quoting, talking about the podcast. It was like the Play for Keeps podcast today. Like Kevin Durant picked the Clippers to win the championship. And I'm like, yo, that's crazy. They're like talking about our pod on a primetime ESPN game. Like, it was just crazy. It was probably the craziest 72 hours of my life, probably, to be honest with you, because like, that was just ridiculous.
I mean, think about it, the week before when the COVID stuff for KD came out, you were the guy next to KD in the picture of people say he was out in LA the previous day. So it was a crazy like month or two for you. And so,
it was actually that entire summer was actually kind of kind of crazy to say, but it's definitely something I'm extremely proud of still, and just like to see like where things went beyond that, and just like kind of, I don't want to say the doors that open, but just I feel like I got taken a little bit more seriously, in my field, like especially just not just from like basketball fans, but like people at Fox kind of started looking at me a little bit differently, and then of course Complex, that was a big part of like their appeal and me coming back over, like just because like they saw that. So, and the KD interview gave us more validity, me and Drew as well, for Play for Keeps to eventually get Kendrick Perkins on and other guests that we had on. Like it was definitely a big moment.
There was another guest that was supposed to be on Play for Keeps, and we were waiting. We were like, this is going to be a big deal, and I was like, me and Josh didn't take this one quite as seriously as we took Kendrick Perkins and everything else. But
I love the Perkins episode. I love the Perkins episode.
The Perkins episode was great. It was great.
Perkins episode was really good.
At that point, we didn't have to worry that Cam knew what they were doing. But it was supposed to be another guy from the Midwest. Cam said he never seen him before in Columbus, but we never saw him on BlkPrint either, and that was Bow Wow.
Oh, I forgot.
Bow Wow gave us the ultimate runaround, bro. Oh my god, 2020 was a wild time.
People were bored. People, not saying bored like they didn't want to, like there was we're bored to do this podcast, but people like were looking for ways to get attention at that point. Yes. You know what I'm saying? So like Bow Wow is definitely one of them.
So we had a group chat. Like Katie was in our chat with us on Twitter, and him having a relationship with Bow Wow, like Bow Wow ended up in the group chat too. And so like, and Bow Wow was actually pretty active in the chat, like sunrise to sunset. Like Bow Wow was in there, like I'll be walking away from like my phone or laptop, and I come back and like Bow Wow's still telling stories from like fucking 2007 Scream tour in this motherfucker.
What kind of niggas Bow Wow in the group chat? Is he the link passer guy, or is he just the
talking
guy? He's just a talk. Oh god, the talker.
He was. I feel like I learned maybe too much about Bow Wow in that time while he was in the chat with us. But so KD did the pod. Man, I think Bow Wow was in LA too during the pandemic for a minute. So like he was coming out, I think, to link with KD, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's what happened. He was coming out to link with KD, and he hit us up too. He was like, yo, who in here did the pod with Kev? Like, I want to do the pod too. I'm like, shit. I'm like, it was us, me and Drew. I'm like, yo, what's good? He was like, hit me up. He was like, I think he gave us his number, or he told me to hit him. He told me to DM him outside the chat, him outside of the chat. And like, so I hit him up. I was like, yo, what day you want to do it? Like, while you here in town? He's like, we can do it Sunday. It don't matter. He said his exact words, I think, were, it don't matter. He's like, we can do it whenever you want to do it. So I'm like,
that's usually nigga terms for, I don't really want to do it.
Let's go. That's the who all gonna be there.
Of course, me and Drew start mapping it out, bro. Like I hit up J5 again. I hit up Mark again. Like, I'm like, yo, Bow Wow wants to do it. Like, and this is like, I don't remember what exactly Bow Wow had going on at the time, but this might have been like, I don't think it was the Bow Wow challenge. I think it might have been Versus. Like, it might have been. So he still was kind of like in the news, or like his name was still like out there a little bit. Like, and so I'm like, all right, bet. Like, and from what we gathered from our conversation with Bow Wow in the group chat, like he was pretty funny. I was like, this is going to be a pretty funny episode. Like if we get Bow Wow on here. And like he agreed to do it. We had set up a date and a time. And then like I was telling Drew the night before, I'm like, yo, I got a weird feeling that this nigga is not gonna come through. Like it's just it's like I got a weird, like he's too all over the place. Like he's too sporadic. Like, and so of course, like that morning I hit him up. I'm like, yo, look, we still on. I think if I'm not mistaken, we were supposed to go back to Kev's crib to do this
Yeah.
episode as well. And he was like, I don't think he responded. I think he just like ghosted us, bro. Like that. Like, and so Drew was more tight about it than I was. Like,
Drew was
way more upset about it than I was. Like, I kind of had a feeling it was gonna happen. Drew did too, but Drew was just like, yo, he could have just told us he wasn't gonna do the pod. I was just laughing. I was like, this is like kind of part of course for like Bow Wow, in my opinion.
Yeah.
We would have had to catch him literally out like and about, like
have a mic in his face.
Exactly. Like, so yeah, the Bow Wow episode did not happen, but that's the story behind it.
It's okay. Well, you know what I want you to do before we move on? I want you to go to your bookmark. You too, Mark. I want you to go to your bookmarks, go to any link that you have from that period when Katie was on the show, and I want you to listen to the work that you did. Think about that moment, you know, kind of capture that moment and just like be proud of it. You know what I'm saying? I want you to go back to that moment. I know you haven't seen it in a minute, and just think about all the stuff that you did then and where you've come from now, and, you know, kind of be in that moment and just say, hey, like, I really did some really cool shit.
That's true.
It's always important to it's cool to stay in the present and you know what I'm saying, and to kind of take it there, but it's also cool to look back on what you did and how far you come. So like, I want you to go back and listen to that and look at that and be like, damn, like all of that shit came together. I can't believe it. You know, like that's a huge moment. And I'm proud of you, Cam, proud of you, Mark, as well, for putting that shit together. That was a banner fucking year for us. I feel like we could have capitalized on that a lot more. We could have monetized it like we knew how to do now. You know what I'm saying? We could have got the most out of it. Mm-hmm. But for what it was at that moment, like, it's such a like crazy moment. You know what I mean? It's such a good look. So shout out to Katie as well for coming through there.
You know, it's really crazy. I don't think we've had too much, or at least from my perspective, I don't think I've had too much of an opportunity to just like I mean, I don't really know how to reach out to Kevin, really, but I know how to reach out to Kevin, but I've never really had an opportunity to just say thanks, because that really did not only a lot for the channel, but also there was another moment when season 2 came out for Play for Keeps. We set the trailer up, and I did a little video to show, I think it was Durant, Perkins, 1985, and just had that set up, and I had Cam. I texted Cam. I was like, "Yo, just send me a voice note real quick, 1 minute of just a preview of the show. I'm gonna make this shit sound nice." I put on the video, released it. Cam was like, "Yo, Kevin just hit me up and was like, who did this video?" Mm-hmm. That does a lot for somebody mentally, for somebody that's just literally grabbing shit off YouTube, trying to just splice clips together and make shit look nice. Yeah. That creates a lot of positive energy for somebody that is trying to do video creation, even just whether it's just audio creation too. That is a lot for somebody coming from that stature.
Yeah. I mean, again, you should feel good about the work that you do. You know what I'm saying? And I think if that's something to leave anybody with, is that you should feel good about the work that you do. So I mean, go tell them thank you.
I should.
He'll definitely respond, bro. Like, he's probably the easiest person to talk to. But like, Mark, I've told you before, bro, like, I'm not saying it's like I've worked with 1,000 producers before, but like, I really do think you're super talented and like great at what it is you do. And like, the fact that I don't want to say at the time you were doing it, it was like a side thing for you. Like, but like for somebody who wasn't like, that wasn't their full-time career, I felt you were as great as anybody could realistically be. It's something that they don't give, 10 hours a day to, because realistically you just didn't have the time at the time. But like, yo, like you're really good at what you do for sure, bro. Like, I've told you that before, but I'll tell you that again now. Like, you definitely are.
I mean, thank you, brother. It's all off the top. I won't say it's all off the top of the head. This ain't all just freestyle, but for the most part, it's there was a comment from the last episode. God, I wish I could shout. I'm gonna look up the comment and actually shout you out. But she was like, "Yeah, I'm a long time listener," and it was actually pretty interesting to hear how it is that Mark got into the producing portion of this. And for the most part, Audacity is some shit I fucked around with when I was 15 years old, making. I don't know if anybody really does. Well, actually, yeah, they do this a lot more, because it's pretty much what SoundCloud is based off now. Back when there was no SoundCloud and we had like SoundClick. Yeah, and iMeme and shit like that. You just fuck around in Audacity, speed up songs on some Florida shit, edit some songs on some Florida shit, fuck around with Audacity, make inside joke tracks with your friends and shit. So that was my introduction to Audacity, and for the most part, it never really left. So when 2017 happened, and RNC was really starting to gel together, and you were like, yo, I think you would be good behind a mic. I think you would be good behind a microphone. And I was like, I don't know, podcasting. I don't know. It might not be exactly for me. It might not be. And you were just like, take a moment to think about it. But I think you were watching the responses that would come from the heat things were usually on Snapchat at that time.
Yeah,
and you're like, yo, a lot of people pay attention to this. I think you should think about it. And I was like, all right, I'll give it an idea. And I asked a couple of people. Just to get an idea of what was going on. Shout out to Amp. Amp gave me some good words when we were out at WrestleMania in Orlando. Who else? I can't remember who else. But then gradually that ended up coming into where we are now. And then it took a while for us to get the video production of it. We still
learning that part.
Exactly.
I'm still getting mad at Mark every fucking episode. I ain't touch shit. You talking when I'm touching shit.
It's the laws of gravity, man.
We're not getting into it. But you two are stellar young gentlemen. And I wanted to have people, because I don't think we talked about this on BlkPrint Radio, but this story is just like iconic. I think about it all the time. It's like, damn, like we really did that. You know what I'm saying? Cam really did that. You know, and it's like when I met this motherfucker, he was just a little ass kid, man, and now he's just grown up.
Don't try my dog.
He's just growing up, bro.
No, I really was. I literally reached out to J5. I don't know if I told this story on here before, but I reached out to him like really right before
he graduation.
Yeah, like literally like probably like 3 days before I graduated college. I was terrified. I was like about to jump out to the real world, bro.
I was like, what the fuck this kid want from me? I don't know nothing.
I wanted any advice I could get.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you freestyle it too?
Freestyle what?
Just in general, when you say I don't know nothing, where does that come from?
I just say that. I feel like there's a level of like knowing something and just inherently going with something. Like I feel like for me, all my life is that I put myself in positions that I feel like serve me. And if Virginia wasn't serving me, I'm leaving. I can't go. You know what I'm saying? If one day California is not serving me, then I'm gonna find another way to get it. You know what I mean? Like I feel like me knowing what situation works for me and what works best for me. And sometimes that's frustrating, especially as I get older, especially as I go through, uncertain things in my life. It's knowing that like, okay, well, if this doesn't work, let me try this out. You know what I'm saying? Let me call this person. Let me do this. It's like, it's freestyling in a way. So like in a way you might be, you're right, but it's also like, no, it's like I've built relationships and, I've built communities and I can call Cam and be like, hey, I need you to do the show real quick for me. Or I could call you and I could be like, oh, can you do this for me? You know what I'm saying? It's like, I pay everything forward. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever I've asked is not something that I wouldn't do for Cam or you or Josh or anybody else that we know. You know what I'm saying? I'll do anything for y'all. You know what I'm saying? So like at the end of the day, it's like I look at the skills that I've kind of amassed producing and doing shows and things like that. It's stuff that I learned from y'all. It's things that I'm like, I look at Cam and I'm like, I think you do really good at like talking about this. That's why I get frustrated with you, Cam, because I'd be like, you need to just do this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like you are such a lightning rod that like you could really like catapult this shit. And I always say this, I leave you be because I know you a grown person. I can't be under you all the time or pause. I can't be like, telling you what to do all the time. You know what I'm saying? You're a grown ass man. But like I still look at it, I'm like, if he can do this, he can do fucking anything. You know what I'm saying? You can do 11 KD interviews. You can fucking do 11 Kendrick Perkins. You can fucking talk to LeBron, anything. I believe you could. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, Mark, I'm like, you'd be really great doing this. And he took that skill and he just like, he catapulted it. You know what I'm saying? To what he's doing now. Look at all the shit you do every single week for the show. You know what I mean? It's knowing that talent pool. It's like, and I think that like, I never like to call myself like a leader of anything. Because I'm just like, I don't lead nobody. But I'm like, I do think of myself as a leader. You know what I'm saying? Like I built a community, and it's not like I'm like, do this, motherfucker, or like go do that. I don't ever tell y'all, any of that. It's just about cultivating what y'all are good at. You know what I mean? And saying like, this is really good for you. I think it would be a good idea. Or like Armand hit me up the other day. Shout out to Armand. He did an interview with this wrestler, like biggest in the world. And he was just like, you really like helped me out and you really like changed my life. And just like, no, like everybody finds their way. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes you need that push to help you find your way.
Did he announce that yet?
No. Cut it out.
I'm gonna have to
Cut it
beat
out the
that
show.
shit. I'm sorry.
Cut it out. Cut it out the show.
I'm like, hold up.
Fucked up my train of thought. I didn't know he wasn't supposed to announce it, but my bad. But was he? I don't know. I don't know. But it was what he said, and I was just like, no. I was like, no. Like I did, like I changed. I helped you by telling you the truth. You know what I'm saying, and telling you a lot of people wouldn't say or a lot of people wouldn't do. Like he was like, he used to be a whack nigga, bro. And I was just like, bro, we was all whack niggas at one point. You know what I'm saying? At some point, we've all been whack niggas. But at the end of the day, it's all about cultivating, what you're good at. And I think a good leader knows what the people that look up to them or that look to them for inspiration, they know how to get the best out of somebody. And I think just looking at that is, part of the course for what we do. But
and you know what's funny too? You brought up a quick point. As we're talking about creation, I think everybody that only listens to our show but also creates themselves, creation part of it is fun. But at a certain point in time, people want to start becoming a little bit more interested in the monetization part of this and start, making more towards what they are creating. You brought up the idea and the mindset of what we would have had in 2020 if we were to think about monetization of that Kevin Durant episode. It's kind of interesting because that ended up coming out from the response Shannon Sharp's interview. We talked about that with Cat Williams this past year, and he was like, listen, for everybody that thinks that I should have put this on Patreon exclusively, whatever you thought I made of it, just triple it. And that's interesting because there was a really strong standing point on Twitter calling Shannon Sharp, oh, he's just not business minded. He should have put it directly on Patreon. And now we're seeing Joe Budden's interview with Candace Owens. That is, I think as of right now, at least as we're speaking, completely Patreon exclusive.
Is anybody talking about that interview?
No.
And that's what fucks it up because I'm like,
exactly.
you're making money, great, completely fine. But because it's Patreon exclusive, how many people are, I mean, your inner circle of patrons, which Joe Budden has a shitload of patrons, is going to be the main ones talking about it. But I would assume if he tries to go public with it,
it'll blow up.
The topics of what they're talking about might not be YouTube friendly. Let's just say that.
True, but at the end of the day, you could edit that. You know what I'm saying? He could edit. He could edit it to be whatever he wants it to be. I look at what we did with KD, and it's just like that could have, but we didn't know at that time. You know what I'm saying? We didn't know. Like we were just like, is this shit gonna be? Are we gonna be alive in a month?
Yeah, exactly. We were thinking, let's get $5 off this show.
It happened so quick. Like I said, like he literally told us, let's do it Sunday. It was like Wednesday.
Yeah,
like we didn't have like a full runway to map out a bunch of shit. So like,
yeah, and we needed to get that interview out ASAP because it was time. It was the timeliness of it too. But it was like, but sometimes it's not about the money. You know what I'm saying? It's about doing it. It's about the moment,
experience of it.
I'm saying, yeah, the experience of it, the moment of it. It's about the relationship that you built with Katie after that. Because of it, because it was a lot of it was like taking care of his profile of his brand. I think that we were super respectful to not like Mark. Even I remember Mark was like, "Is there anything in this that he wants to cut out?" You know what I'm saying? Like we cared about that. This is something that usually PR people do. He didn't have no PR with it. He didn't have nobody from his team told us nothing, but we cared about that, and that's why when people come to RNC and they come to BlkPrint and they come to anything that we do, they like the level of professionalism because that's what we come. That's how we come at it. So, again, shout out to KD. I didn't expect to go 30 on this, but it was a good conversation. It's a good thing to talk about, and I had to say that to y'all this morning on the show. We got to edit something out, but
it might come out by the time that this comes out. I got to text.
You know what? The more I think about it, it's not. So we got to cut it. He actually did tell me when it was coming out, so it's definitely something we got to cut. But let's get into some quick news real quick. This came out like a couple hours ago. I think it's cap. But it's been said from the TikTok video, by the way, it's from some nigga. Have you guys seen the origin of the Bruno Mars rumor? It came from some nigga on TikTok.
No.
Really?
It came from some guy that was like at the Palms or some shit. He was saying that this is what I heard. I heard that I've seen him. People have seen him blow 17 million at the tables. And then it comes out on all these outlets. Bruno Mars, $50 million in debt to MGM. And he only makes 1.5 million after taxes. Et cetera, et cetera. Not to say that like it's not possible, but do you really think this motherfucker wouldn't be in a trunk in the water and in the sea by now if he was running it up like that?
I'm good for it, baby. That's all you got. That's all you got to hit. If once he goes on another world tour, that's it.
I was thinking the same thing yesterday. I was like, yo, 50 million is an outrageous number.
Yes.
Like, I think something would have been done
to him
a long time ago before it got to 50 million in debt.
He would be performing in a wheelchair, bruh, before they let that shit happen. They don't give a fuck about the performance. Because at that point, he wouldn't be making no millions of dollars. I would be like, the 1.5 that I'm getting, you can have it, bro. I'll just perform until this shit's paid off. But I think that this goes into like this era of like just niggas saying anything, bro. Because he hasn't made a statement. MGM hasn't made a statement. I'm pretty sure that's coming. If not, if it hasn't already come out yet, the statement's probably coming soon. It just makes when I saw it, I was like, I skipped past it. I go on Twitter now. It's a big story. Like some of the memes are funny, but I'm just like, bro, there's no way that anyone like even did any due diligence on this story at all.
What if a Vegas residency gets announced?
He's already doing it.
Is it right now?
Yeah, he's already doing it.
He's paying back that debt.
But he wasn't doing the residency to pay the debt. They're saying that in the midst of him doing the residency, he
ran up 50 mil.
Yeah, he amassed this debt because when you're in a residency, you live in Vegas. Some people like during a residency, they might do like I've seen like I remember like Metro or somebody did the residency of Vegas or weekend. He would do it on the weekend, then he'd fly out, then he'd fly back in on like Thursday, Friday and do the shows, then he'd fly back out. So like that's your life for like 6-7 months out of the year.
Yeah.
So they're saying that he stayed and he just gambles all day. And I'm just like, I believe it because he seems like he has a addictive personality, but I don't believe that like any place would just have him on the hook and still be giving him $1 million. They're taking the whole check from him, not just giving him no money. Hell no.
They just start garnishing his payments. Like you just like you're not gonna. I don't believe it. I saw yesterday. I just didn't believe 50 million. Do I believe he might be in some debt? That's not outrageous.
Yeah.
But like 50 million is such a crazy number.
50 million. The head security guard on the floor, he tapping you on the shoulder for 50, bro. He know exactly. They know how much you make here.
I mean, it's depending on the credit. Ask Charles Barkley or Michael Jordan if they are allowed to walk out the door.
Ask Michael Jordan.
With $50 million.
I know who wasn't allowed to walk out the door.
Exactly. Charles Barkley be talking about he owed $9 million and he's sweating bullets.
How many people around Charles Barkley that died off of this gambling shit? I'm just saying.
Really?
I'm just saying.
Really?
I'm just saying they go to the family, bro. They're not letting you walk out of there with 50 million on your head, bro. At all.
That just reminded me.
Is crazy.
That just reminded me of the response. It's been quiet for Bruno Mars since. Well, not quiet. I won't go quiet.
Since
quiet.
Silk Sonic.
Not since Silk Sonic.
Quiet. It's been quiet.
Yeah, well, since Silk Sonic, it got him a Grammy for what? Song of the Year, Record of the Year, one of those two. But solo album wise, it's been since 24 Karat Magic, right?
Yeah,
if I recall.
2016. That was 2016, bro.
And the response to him winning Album of the Year that year, I thought was so fucking whack. I'm about to go look at what the other Album of the Year nominees were. But when he won 24 Karat Magic,
it was a week. Was that a Beyonce year?
No, it was a year. I thought he deserved it, and I thought the conversation was so crazy because it immediately shifted to like race? Cultural appropriation and everything. Like I'm like,
James Fauntleroy damn near wrote this entire album. A black man, a very talented black man, and he just won Album of the Year. He's getting one of the biggest credits for the Grammys in that year. Well, when it comes to Filipino men doing New Jack Swing, I'm not digging it. And I'm just like, what are we doing?
The Bruno Mars conversation is something that's interesting to me, even though I never really given a fuck about it, because it's not like he's not paying homage to the actual styles that he's like appropriating. Or
I don't think he's saying he created New Jack Swing. I don't think he's on Vlad TV talking about, since Guy and Teddy Riley, I'm the one keeping New Jack Swing alive. I'm influencing these artists.
44 by Jay-Z.
Not winning.
Awaken My Love by Childish Gambino.
That was not winning.
Damn by Kendrick Lamar and Melodrama by Lord. This is not like a super strong year.
Is that the blackest album of the year candidacy ever?
4 out of 5 nominees. Well, I mean, depending on what you count Bruno Mars.
Put up the paper bag to that nigga's skin. Let's see what
but if we're counting him as black, 4 minorities for sure out of 5 nominees. That probably has to be.
That was a black ass year. What was 2017? That was no Drake that year. Or even if it was, they weren't going to nominate.
He might not have even
More
submitted.
Life was 2017, so nah. Then Future and Hendrix.
That wasn't getting nominated.
I mean, there was no Beyonce, no Rihanna.
I just slam dunked your bitch Hall of Fame was not making it to album of the year contention.
Then again, Views was April 2016. Would that have been 2017 Grammys or am I wilding?
It would have been.
Oh, but it
missed the.
Yeah, exactly. Bruno won what 2018?
Yeah.
Yeah, he won 2018, but the album came out late 2016.
Yeah, late 2016. That's why he's in 2018. Got it.
Yeah, SZA wasn't getting nominated for her debut album with Control that year, so
she could have won, bro. She could have been in that lower position, bro. She could have been there.
I don't think people really had understood this. By people, I mean
the Academy.
The Academy understood what SZA was at the time. Like, and that's now she's a huge star, but I feel like they didn't understand how important that album was when it came out. I feel like
it took a couple of years for SZA to get right. Obviously, TDE set her up right with Control. She's dropping deluxes. What was it, last year for Control 5-year anniversary? Amazing deluxe. Still waiting for that SOS deluxe. Who knows when that comes out? But she's talking about it.
Yeah, she talking about a lot of shit. Bruno Mars. I'm gonna pray for you, brother. I need that statement to come out. I just don't believe it. Something else is coming out. Future and Metro Boomin album comes out this week. It's been 2 years since we had anything from Future. 2022 is the year. Wow. 2022 in May or late April.
Well,
that's crazy.
Yeah, I Never Liked You. Solid album, I thought. It was nice. Definitely on like the lower end. Even though I listened to that album a lot that year because there was like, I definitely wasn't listening to Mr. Morale over that in 2022. No. It just was what it was. It was to my tastes. I'm not saying Mr. Morale was bad, but it's been 2 years. What are we expecting from Future and Metro? It's their first full album together since DS2 times. Yeah. And this completely produced by Metro. Metro's and Future been really coy about the features. Is it going to have features on it or not? Saying yes or saying no. To me, it doesn't really matter. I think Future on the album by itself, he did it before with Future and Hendrix. He can do it.
And the Wizard, pretty much.
Yeah, and the Wizard, pretty much
except for like 2 songs. Yeah,
all solo. And what are we expecting? What are you thinking, Cam? As a futurologist.
Yeah, everybody knows it's like on my personal Mount Rushmore, Future is definitely on it. So the fact it's been 2 years, it really doesn't feel like it's been that long, but he's been doing features. So, but yeah. I really loved I Never Liked You. Speaking back to what you were talking about, like I listened to it that whole year. I think that and DS Forever were probably my 2 favorite albums that came out in 2022. But Future is somebody I think that the album is going to be good. Like Metro is, I was worried because Metro has been everywhere for like the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And so my biggest worry initially was like, has Metro given away too many beats? Like, has his sound become like, when he did the Spider-Man soundtrack, he did his own album.
Yeah.
He's done stuff for The Weeknd. He's done stuff for 21 Savage. He's done stuff. He was on DS Forever for like 3 tracks before the YSL situation happened. He did the whole Young Thug album that came out. Like, even though a lot of those records were probably like, unfinished records or records they had to patch together. But I just was worried that, was Metro becoming like oversaturated to an extent. But if there's anybody, I think that, and it's not that I think somebody needs to bring the best out of Metro. I'm not saying he's washed, but if there's anybody I think that Metro can lock in with and like really like give us something crazy, I do believe it's Future out of any rapper that's out right now.
Yeah.
I don't think that there is any question with that. And I think Metro can bring something out of Future. And not saying that Future hasn't been on his A game. I Never Liked You. I like all his features that he's done in the last 2 years.
With Future, to a certain extent, like shout out to ATL Jacob, amazing producer. Yeah. DY, amazing producers.
Yeah.
It's like something about Future and Metro. It's just different. I agree. It's just different. You can have the Future and Wheezy, that's cool. Future DY, that's cool. Future ATO Jacob, which has been kind of the nucleus for the past 2 years, that's cool. But it's nothing like Future and Metro. And we haven't had that combination of talent in so long. And I think that it's just time for a Future record. I think we're so used to it. We had a conversation on the show one time. We're just like, no, Future has been like not coming out with albums as much as he used to anymore. He's making them like events when he drops an album, and this one feels like that. I think like with Metro also, to your point, he is everywhere, but like this motherfucker produced Popular for a Weekend.
Yeah,
and like that sounds like a Pharrell song. You know what I'm saying? Like he's so varied. I want to hear Future on something like that. You know what I'm saying? I want to hear Future on something that he might have given to The Weeknd one time, or that he might have been given to Don Toliver or something like that. Like I think that there's a growth with Metro where it's like he's gonna challenge Future, not bring the best out of him, challenge him to do stuff off the beaten path, because it's largely like, other than Wait For You, largely been kind of the same type of cadence, same type of BPM, same type of beats there.
Oh, yeah.
Metro's going to challenge him, and I think that's what I'm waiting here. It's 2 albums, and my pie in the sky prediction for this is the first one's going to be all raps, hard raps. Second one got to go R&B.
I mean, I wouldn't be mad at that at all, because I love both of those albums. Like, I love both of them. And I think, like you just said, bro, Metro is kind of, I don't want to say underrated, but like you say, he's varied. Like when he comes to like the R&B bag, I don't think people think of him for like the, pop type records he does with The Weeknd, or like R&B records. Like he did Swinging on Westheimer for Don Toliver.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's crazy. Like, so I would like to see Future on those type of beats would be crazy. And I think you just hit the nail on the head too, bro. Like, this feels like an event. Mm-hmm. I don't feel like we get too many albums in hip hop right now, like recently, where it's like it feels like an event. Of course, we
don't have too many artists in hip hop.
Exactly,
that make things an event.
Exactly,
mm-hmm.
And so Future and Metro, this is an event, and I feel like this could set the tone for the rest of the year, because I feel like this album is fail proof. Almost like not trying to set the expectations too high or be biased going in, but just for everything you just said and everything that we've spoken on, and the more I've sat back and thought about it, like I just feel like there's no way that this album doesn't deliver. And the fact they're giving 2, they're gonna hit one of them is gonna be a hit.
Yeah,
like I feel like it's impossible for them to strike out on both. So like I feel like it could set the tone for the rest of the year in hip hop as well too. Like this is what the bar has been set, and like see if anybody can come behind them and deliver something of this magnitude. I'm just happy Future
is back
at 14 years in, like is still able to get us this excited about a project. Like,
and we
speaks to,
and we know what he giving us.
Yeah,
you know what's interesting? I wonder what Future would do with a Popular though. I feel like since 2014,
money on top of me, money on top of.
I mean, he could. I mean, it's not too far. It doesn't sound too far off, but I just remember how he felt after 2014 when he was just like, "Man, Sierra had me doing shit like Body Party," and I'm like, "Yo, Body Party was hard,
it's a great record."
He needs to go back to that, bro. He needs to kind of get to that cadence. He's done it with Hendrix, but it's like, I feel like a lot of that reception was he was listening to what the fans were saying to him. They was like, we don't want to hear that shit. We want to hear like Bugatti records and shit like that. Like, and he was like, oh yeah, you're right. Y'all right. Yeah. They was forcing me to do that. And I feel like Hendrix was him finally saying, this is really what I wanted to do. Like, Honest was really kind of what I like. That's the type of music that I like. Like, if Hendrix felt personal, and it felt like, no pun intended, it felt honest. It felt true to who he is and what he likes.
He said that's the album he always wanted to make.
Yeah.
Right before it came out, he said, this is the album I've always wanted to make.
Right.
Like, I think that is really who Future is. Like, yes. I'm not saying that like Future and DS2 and that shit isn't Future. Of course it is. But I think like he's got way more to him than what people are willing to give him. I think.
Way more soulful credit.
And he still managed to keep a level of anonymity to him, like where we don't really know like too much. You know what I'm saying? And I think that he was able to bear a soul on Hendrix. And that's my hope for Metro would be maybe on the second album he gives us some more of what he's thinking about. He gives us some more of what he's going through. So we Don't Trust You comes out 24th, and there's another album tentatively slated for April. Don't know if that's gonna happen. We never know. But I think it's going to be a banger. You already know we're going to be listening to it on the BlkPrint. We'll talk about it in the next episode. But speaking of events, another event is happening. Rolling Loud's happening. And with Rolling Loud in LA, Kanye West and Ty Dolla $ign have reached out, and they've done a huge press run because of the success of Carnival, which is, does that shit sound like Mo Bamba to y'all or no?
Not really. I mean, it's
like, I never thought about that part.
I got hoes calling a young nigga phone.
I mean, it's a chant. It's a chant. The chant was I didn't watch Thursdays. So I didn't see Kanye just playing records. Yeah, just saw a listening event. But number one song in the country. I listened to that, and while I was listening to Vultures for the first time, no hyperbole, I thought that was probably one of Kanye's best records in years, literal years.
Because of his rapping, though.
No,
I'm not coming to Kanye for raps in 2024.
Just because of the beat.
Just the volume of the record, the feeling of the record. I was like, oh, this is going to shut down something live. Like a Rolling Loud, which I don't know how well that ended up going on Thursday, but for the Italy performance, that sounded nuts. When he was doing it in Italy, that sounded crazy. Having Rich the Kid, having now an entire new, I would say universe when it comes to his fan base, because there's a lot of fucking children a lot of fucking jits in his fan base. But for them to now learn Rich the Kid for the most part, I don't know if they would know too much about him being the fourth Migo 10 years ago when he was rapping with Migos. But now they're introduced to a little bit more Rich the Kid. Then you got more Cardi coming out. I'm still waiting for Cardi. And Ty Dolla $ign, he gets his biggest look of his career.
Do y'all feel like the Carnival look is because Cardi is on the record?
That's what I was about to ask.
I'm going to be real with you. I didn't know that song was Carnival. I just heard the Cardi snippet. And that's all I heard on TikTok.
You're right, dude. Like a carnival. They go straight to that on TikTok, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't honestly feel like... Listen, that record to me is Cardi, and the rest of it is pretty much interchangeable to me.
If you take Kanye off of it, I don't think that anything changes for the record.
You miss nothing.
I don't think anything changes.
What a random ass verse on that too.
This the Game of Thrones automatic skip.
No. He said he's Bill Cosby. He said he's Diddy for whichever reason.
R. Kelly.
He said he's R. Kelly, and he screams, "This is what they did to Chris Brown." I'm like, who's they?
This is what he did.
Yeah,
this is what Chris Brown did to Chris Brown. But I do feel like a little. Josh is gonna kill us when he gets back because
he's gonna be like, well, number one record. That's all that matters.
Listen, I feel like the record is popping because Cardi is in a moment right now, and everyone is gravitating to whatever Cardi's about to do. I think Cardi could potentially see the biggest first week numbers he's ever seen if he drops this year. He is, to put it lightly, like the next guy up right now.
Yeah.
I think people are really ready for whatever he's about to do, and I think that Carnival as an introduction to like what he's about to do is a good way. But I definitely feel like there's a level of coattail riding. I'm not gonna lie.
Ooh,
I feel like the whole album is
Kanye,
that.
with Kanye and Cardi.
Yeah, I feel like the whole album's like that though. I feel like I love Ty Dolla $ign, man. I listened to the album the other day. I was like, could you have done this without him? Like, I feel like he's inconsequential to that album.
What would that have got if it was just Ty Dolla $ign with with Quavo and Rich the Kid and Cardi, and who else was on that album? What's her name? Oh my God. Not Northwest. India Love. Extremely random feature there.
YG.
Yeah. That was probably the most Ty Dolla $ign record
on
the album. I'm like, why is Kanye rapping over Juvenile? I wouldn't expect that.
It came out, and that record was sound like it could have been on Beach House 5.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It felt like it could have been. I feel like I don't think their aesthetics match very well.
No.
I'm going to be real. I don't think the Ty Dolla $ign and Kanye all black wearing masks shit, I don't think it matches very well. I don't think it works. Vultures ain't bad. It ain't something I'm gonna like go back to though.
And it's kind of my thing with Kanye albums for the last like probably 5 years. It's like, what scale are we grading Kanye in 2024? Like, because Mark, you just said you're not listening to Kanye for raps.
The scale is he did it. Like that's literally the scale. He's back. Like there's no other scale. I think that people are just excited to see him do anything.
I have a hard time, like, because there was a time where Kanye was my favorite rapper. Like, and this was like for a long period of time, probably from like College Dropout when I was like 8, 9 years old, getting into hip hop up until probably The Life of Pablo. Like I was all the way in on Kanye. So when people say I'm not listening to him for raps anymore, or they'll try to like diminish, they're like, "Well, did we ever really listen to Kanye?"
Yes,
for rapping?
yes, exactly. Yes, we did.
They'll be like, I don't know if there was a time.
I do think we did. Like
that argument is so funny to me because now it's like in 2024, like, come on, man, he's old. I'm like, I'm just like, huh? But it's also like people who like get mad at people like Drake for being around young niggas. It's like, well, what's Kanye doing? You know what I'm saying? What that's all the fuck he's doing is being around young niggas. I don't know. I listen to Vultures. The only reason I'm talking about this now is because I finally listened to it, and I thought it was fine. It's fine. It's a nice 6.5 to me. Because you know why it's 6.5? Sure. Because the raps ain't good.
Yeah.
I would
the beats is nice. The raps are not good.
Yeah, the production a lot more 90s hip hop than I expected in a lot of those.
Because he's old.
Samples. But I don't think he really goes to well. Then again, his samples are kind of random. I don't remember all the Donda samples. The Donda album was all throughout the place. But this ended up being a decent listen.
This the Game of Thrones automatic. Where rather dirt not a carnival?
Tie back into something that J5 just mentioned though, like about Cardi. Like we were having a conversation about this a couple of days ago. I think probably on Tuesday, like at work, and people were kind of. I don't think that people are really understanding how big Playboy Cardi is right now. Because I was like, this song is number one. Of course, Kanye's name attached to it.
Because of Cardi.
But Cardi's fan base is so rabid right now. And like, they're probably the most online group of fans, like it out of everybody. Like, so I don't think people really understand like how big Cardi is. Because I said the same thing you said verbatim. Like,
they're majority white. They're majority white kids.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you mix those majority white kids who already love Kanye and they already love Cardi. This was like fucking Jesus and God making a song together. Legitimately. They do not care. It's literally like, I feel like I live in Idiocracy, the movie, when I look at some of the shit that I see them motherfuckers talk about these two say. And it is, Cardi's in a moment. He could have, but the thing about Cardi is that he could have this moment without Kanye. I don't know if Kanye can have this moment on the inverse. I don't know if Carnival goes as crazy if it doesn't go as crazy on TikTok's Cardi's verse. No. And it's the thing about the Cardi's verse on TikTok is that it's the performance, it's the listening party verse where his verse is actually very loud. The actual album version, his verse is so low. You can't hear it. The TikTok version, it's like it's almost like it was a different recording of it. And I'm like, where's this version where he doesn't sound like he's being drowned out by the beat? But I think this is advantageous to Cardi. And maybe Ty Dolla $ign because he's never had a number one single before, but like not very much advantageous to everyone else on the record. But it was smart for Kanye to put Cardi on this record, which is Mo Bamba Part 2, and get what he was. Listen to it. It's Mo Bamba Part 2. And it really is.
And there's 2 more albums on the way.
I don't know if those 2 are going to go as crazy as this one did.
No.
There's a record that they sampled, Backstreet's Back.
That's we've been hearing for the past year.
Is that ever coming out?
I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna put my drewskis up. I'm gonna need that. Honestly speaking, you're not a Backstreet Boys guy. More of an NSYNC guy.
It's not even about Backstreet Boys.
Okay.
The song "Ass."
Well, we don't know that yet.
We've heard it. It's been out.
The full song?
Yes. I
might have to go look. All I've heard was Charlie Wilson singing.
This is back. I'm like, they got this nigga Charlie Wilson in the studio doing whatever the fuck. Singing whatever the fuck, bro. Like, I'm not fool. Listen, fool me once, can't get fooled again. Like George Bush said, fool me once, fool me twice, can't get fooled again. Come on now. That's not happening. Come on.
Did you watch anything else Rolling Loud related throughout the weekend?
Absolutely not.
I watched a good amount on Friday and yesterday. We're a couple hours away from the streams that are going to be happening today at 3:00. I think Future and Metro are the main event tonight. So around 9:30 they will be streaming.
I've seen a lot of people say that this lineup this year isn't that good.
I think lineup wise is damn near at a ceiling with Rolling Loud. I think for the most part, you get what you get.
What more can they do?
Exactly. When a new artist pops in, they'll splice them in, but for the most part, you get what you get.
They get Nicki,
and they'll cater it. They'll cater it region wise. They'll probably Florida it up a little bit when they're going home. When they do New York City, they'll throw a little bit of New York artists in there. When it comes to Inglewood, They'll have their Blue Bucks clans and their OGZs and all that.
YG did do My Crazy Life.
Great set between YG and Tyga. I tell a nigga stop playing with Tyga, man.
No,
stop playing with Tyga, man.
What do you mean?
Tyga got records, man. I'm just letting you know. It's not tongue in cheek. It's not.
She a big girl dog. She's stimulated.
He's not doing stimulated. He's not doing stimulated.
Not even just the song, the act.
He's doing hookah.
The act.
He's doing faded.
To go back to Kanye. Yeah, Tyga, get him.
Another guy.
Start him early.
Another guy that Tyga.
So you sure about not playing with Tyga?
That part you can play with as much as you need to.
Okay.
As record wise, Tyga's got.
Did he do the Ice Ice Baby record?
I don't think so. He did a Macarena record that I was like, all right, Tyga, what the fuck is this?
He did Rack City.
He did Rack City, yeah.
Yeah, he did Rack City. He did Faded. He did all the hits. YG had a great set. He talked about My Crazy Life turning 10, so on and so forth. Great set from him.
It's still the best album he's ever done. He'll never top that.
By far.
He'll never top that.
He brought out Sweetie, pretty awkward. She did My Type.
Sweetie better watch. She better keep her head on the swivel. Cardi trying to knock that.
Cardi?
B trying to knock her goddamn.
I thought he said he wanted Ice Spice.
Nah, they got into some beef. I heard.
Cardi and Sweetie.
That's why I need Josh here because he knows about the shade room shit. It was on the shade room.
Wow, Cardi and Sweetie.
Josh.
I wonder what that is.
Cardi B.
Oh, Cardi B.
Okay. I mean, why would Cardi B hitting another woman?
I mean, I don't know.
Exactly.
I have no idea.